Here's a chart we use in several courses. We had the highest debt relative to gross domestic product in U.S. history at the end of World War II. But then for 40 years, we reduced the debt. And then for the last 35 years, we've increased the debt again to where it's now worse than the previous high water mark. Two other things worth noting about the end of World War II. First, the government raised tax rates across the board in order to pay down the enormous debt balance. We'll compare today's tax rates to those after the end of World War II in a few minutes. Secondly, between 1946 and 1964, the baby boomers came to planet Earth. More people were born in that 18-year period than any other in American history. And for 40 years, Americans paid pretty high taxes. Then with the Reagan administration, we lowered tax rates. So tax rates go down here in 1986, and they stay pretty low for the next 35 years. Then beginning in 2011, baby boomers begin turning 65 at the rate of 10,000 individuals per day. And they go on Social Security and Medicare. That pace will continue through 2029. We're on an unsustainable path with all of these baby boomers looking for entitlements and the tax rates being the lowest we'll probably see for the rest of our lifetimes. You may wonder about the reality of taxes being low today. Are they really low on everyone or just the rich? And what about inflation? I don't know what I would have been making in 1945 or 65 or 85. So what does it mean to me? Well, what we did was created a calculator, a tax time machine, if you will. You can find a link to this calculator on our website and at the end of this video. But what this calculator allows us to do is look at our income here today and compare it to what that income would have been adjusted for inflation in 1985, 75, 65, 55, and 45, as well as what we would have paid in today's dollars in taxes in those years. Now, a couple making $50,000 would be at a marginal tax rate of 12%, meaning the next dollar that they would make would be taxed at 12% federal, and then whatever state tax rate they would have. The effective tax rate means that some of their income is taxed at 10% and some is taxed at 12. It averages out to 11. So the effective rate is simply the total taxes divided by the total taxable income. Now look at the total taxes here. $5,600 versus $6,000 in 1985, $9,000 here, $8,000 here, $10,000 here, and almost $12,000 here. In every prior period, adjusting for inflation, this couple making $50,000 today would have paid much more in taxes than they will today. And they would have been in higher marginal tax brackets, so any new income coming in would be taxed at much higher rates. In fact, at almost twice as much in 3 out of these 5 years selected. Let's look at somebody making, let's say, $200,000. This couple would be in a 24% marginal tax bracket today. The last dollars are taxed at 24%, and the effective rate is 18% or $36,000. They would have paid $58,000 here, $61,000 here, $47,000, $53,000, $66,000. In all of those prior decades, when Americans were reducing the debt, they would have paid much more in taxes, and their marginal tax bracket would be from anywhere from 32% to as high as 48%. Now let's take somebody making a great deal of money, say $2 million. They would reach the highest tax bracket we have today, which is only 37%. But if that was adjusted for inflation and it was in these other years, it would have been at a marginal bracket of 50%, 70%, 89%, even 92%. Why is marginal tax rate important? Let's take a look. The marginal tax rate is important because it's the rate you would pay on your 1099 income from savings in a taxable account. It's the rate you pay on your required minimum distributions, whether you need to spend them or not. Up to 85% of your Social Security could be taxed at the marginal rate. Rental property income, withdrawals from traditional retirement plans and IRAs. And it's the rate your heirs would pay on inherited retirement plans that haven't been taxed yet. Let's drill down a little bit on these income topics in Taxes 201.